Now look here, people, listen to my story. A little story about a man named Titus.
Hello YouTube, and welcome to a very special video. You know it's special because I bothered to whip out the gray shirt. If somebody's wearing a shirt that their avatar wears, you know that they care about the video. And I care about this video because I'm talking about my favorite video game of all time, Final Fantasy X. The X stands for xylophone. So this has been my favorite game since I was 13 years old, and I usually play it every other year, you know, changing up how I play it just a little bit, and it's always a blast. But why am I finally covering it? Well, my favorite YouTuber of all time is covering the Final Fantasy series, and he's done 1 through 9. And I don't want to be influenced by his video, but I also don't want to skip his video, so... So, you know, go downstairs and grab yourself something microwavable from the fridge. Grab yourself a sody pop, because I gave this video all my hugs, kisses, and attentions to turn it into a freaking feature-length film. Alright, let's go! So we start the game and are given a fun pop-inspired rendition of the Final Fantasy prologue. Well, we're introduced to our main hero, and here's the thing. I played this game when I was like 13, and like half the game is voice acted, so every character's name is said at some point. But the player insert can be changed, so they never actually say his name out loud. So I pronounced it like the book in the New Testament, Titus.
Timothy, Timothy, Titus.
But there does exist a rare commercial where his name is actually said.
A young adventurer named Titus.
Even thinking about pronouncing his name is oh, it makes my skin crawl. So please do forgive me, but I'm going to be pronouncing his name Titus. So we break out Titus and start hitting on some babes and then walking down this road. And while we walk down that, we hear some really out of place narration to learn a little bit about the disappearance of a great Blitzball player named Jecht.
Zanar, I says to myself, what are you thinking?
Yo, why do we get to learn how to pronounce Zanar's name but not the main dude? Anyway, we are the son of Jecht, and there's this cool sport called Blitzball, and we get an amazing pre-rendered cutscene while a song is jamming in the background. And I've heard that this song is actually in English, but I can't understand a word of it! Anyway, we see Titus throw a man from the field, score some goals, and while all this is happening, the town is actually being attacked. And just as Titus goes for the amazing blammo slammo shot, he gets hit, and then he falls to his death. But seriously, Titus died right there. But he's not gonna let something as minor as death break his stride. So everyone starts fleeing the area, and then I meet up with Auron, who is just the definition of cool. And he shoves a big old sword into my hands, and we start cutting down these bug things, and whatever that thing is. And even well, I was gonna say construction equipment, but I'm pretty sure that falls under the purview of whatever that thing is as well. And it blows up a building. Auron tells me to go, and almost immediately we lost him. But he must have had dark blood magic because he beat me to the other side. Then he lifts me up, but blood magic does have a price. So he offers me up to the beast. Wake up cold and alone. Swim my way over to some ruins, find some items, make myself a fire, and then Spider Scorpion. It's a fight that is not going too well for me, but eventually...
Cheers, love! The cavalry's here!
So we beat the thing, and then the cavalry take me to their boat, and I meet Riku.
Are you blind? She got no clothes on!
That's her costume.
But I can see her legs!
And she teaches me how you level up in Final Fantasy X. She learns you about the Sphere Grid. Did you know? The Sphere Grid was actually patented by Square Enix. But that's not the reason no other company's ever used it. Nah, the reason we've never seen the Sphere Grid anywhere else is because... this is the Sphere Grid! What the frick? The first time I ever played this game, I decided not to interact with this at all. And I got stuck partway through the game until I lent it to a friend and he learned how the Sphere Grid actually worked. And then he taught me. And I won't go into it this early in the video because I have a feeling that would destroy viewer retention, but a little later in the video I will go a little in depth and explain why I love the Sphere Grid. But right now, we're going under the sea to fight an octopus. You can run, but did you consider that Riku has grenades? grenades? Well, after that, I talk to Riku, and I tell her that I'm the star Blitzball player from Zanarkand, and she tells me that Zanarkand got blown up 1,000 years ago. And this is a nice little subversion that we got in this game. You see, in a lot of stories, the main character gets amnesia, so that the viewer can learn about the world alongside the character in game. But in this game, Titus got warped to another world. That way, he gets to keep all of his memories of being a great Blitzball player, but he still needs help from all the characters to learn about this world's in-depth culture, and by proxy, the player. Then this huge monster named Sin comes up and
toss me overboard.
And then I wake up on a beach and the real game starts. We get another gorgeous pre-rendered cutscene where I make sure that this Blitzball team can never practice ever again by sending their Blitzball 1 quadrillion miles away. But one of the main reasons that this is my favorite video game is the soundtrack. Had to import this sucker from Japan. And in the HD remake, which I didn't mention is the way that I'm playing this, the soundtrack was almost completely redone. And for every single song, I feel that the new arranged versions are better, with one notable exception, and that being the song that plays on the way back to Besaid. You see, this guy Waka is gonna take you back to the village, and if you end up playing this game at some point, you're gonna wanna go down into configuration and flip that little sucker back to original. Just until you get to the village, then pop on back on over to the arranged soundtrack. And this is one of my favorite songs. Don't want to say on the soundtrack too much, but I love it so much. And here's one of the big reasons for that. We got motifs, baby! The song playing right now in the village is the female lead's main song on like a plucky guitar. At night we'll have a more subdued version, and later in the game there'll be a love song with lyrics. Granted, it'll be in the anime language, but it'll be all the same notes. We had Titus's theme earlier, which is a nice subdued version of the Blitzers, and that main theme of Zanarkand that they have during the opening, well, it comes back with several variations. And I love this soundtrack. Back to the story. A lot about this world is ruled by the national religion, and since Titus doesn't really understand this new world one bit, Waka makes an excellent guide and tells you to go to the temple to meet the summoner. When you arrive, an old man says that they just now got a statue of the last high summoner. It's an old dude, and they show some other high summoner statues, and I just find this as some really brilliant subversion for later. But right now, you need to solve a puzzle, because the current summoner has been trapped in the temple for over a day. It's against the rules for Titus to go deeper into the temple, but if the current summoner's in danger, he's gonna throw this religion that he's not a part of to the side, and we enter the Cloister of Trials, which are these escape rooms that you'll encounter periodically throughout the game with a small bit of challenge, but also easy enough that 20 minutes of trial and error will also carry you through. And if you spend a little bit of extra time in each cloister, you can net yourself a special item by using the Destruction Sphere. After that, we get to the room where we meet more characters, Lulu and Kimari. And after a bit of standing around, the door opens and the summoner, bam! Yuna steps out. I love this, that they showed summoners as being old dudes and then intentionally obfuscated the fact that Yuna was gonna be a babe. And that's probably the reason that this was my favorite game growing up. I had a crush on Yuna. I still probably do. Oh yeah, that heterochromia. Anyway, we go outside and Yuna puts the summon in Summoner and calls down a giant dragon beast. Then it goes to nighttime with one of them motifs chiming in, and I get an opportunity to talk to Yuna. Tomorrow she leaves on a pilgrimage to defeat Sin, and since Waka is her guardian, I'll be heading with them since Waka is gonna take me to go play some Blitzball. And the next morning we head on out and meet our party and we learn the mechanics of this game. The goth chick Lulu can shoot out magics. Waka's accuracy allows him to clip bird wings. Kimari doesn't really have a niche, so he's kind of just a jack of all trades. But Yuna can call down her dragon monster.
Good dragon.
Hey, what the frick, man? One thing to keep your eye out for in this game is chests and people. Anywhere it looks like they can hide a secret, they usually have, with some good items stashed away for you. And since you're traveling with a rockstar summoner, people will just hand you items to ease your journey. So we hop on the boat and meet a minor character.
Awaka the 23rd, merchant extraordinaire.
He'll show up throughout the journey so that you can keep yourself stocked up on potions when traditional shops are few and far between. He also asks for a small business loan that you can build upon for the first fifth of the game. And usually I try to reach his 10,000 gil tier. Not because he helps you with items throughout the game, but because of that awesome accent. But after that, we're minding our own business, and then Sin attacks. Oh, I didn't mention it before, but Sin is a big part of this world. He's like this gigantic monster, and it kind of just goes around killing a lot of people. Like seriously, way above the doctor's recommended dose of killing. And everyone in Spira lives in constant fear. And the people on this ship are kind of thinking that they want to try and piss it off. So they harpoon its fin, and it's fighting time. Fun fight! Really only Lulu's Magica and Waka's Blitzball can affect it, but some of Sin's babies come onto the dock, and that's where Titus and Kimari can shine. But the real star is Veil 4. Hey, you gonna smack me this time?
Nope.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm a fire in my laser!
Oh, hey, there's a mechanic I can talk about. Overdrives! Okay, so every character has a super move called an overdrive. The Aeons just perform a long but awesome animation, but the other characters have fun little quick mini games, like stopping an arrow in a place, or hitting it big on the slots, or in Lulu's case, burrowing your palms off, Mario Party style. The best thing to do with overdrives, especially with your Aeons, is to always have the overdrives charged up in your back pocket. Is the battle going a little sideways? Well, it's a good thing I have a tactical nuke for just such an occasion. Anyway, after the fight, we get to watch a high-quality genocide. This little fishing village just gets diggity-dang-durgled. And when we arrive, we get another dose of world building. In addition to killing a Sin, a summoner can also send the spirits of the dead to the afterlife. It's called ascending, kinda like when Yu-Gi-Oh! Sends someone to the Shadow Realm. And then after we rest for the night, we meet the best character ever.
I want to be a Blitzball when I grow up.
Why wait?
Alright, now the game for real starts. Every battle, every encounter up to this point has been scripted, but this is it. No more tutorial. Oh, gosh, dang it, Kimura. Okay, now you are in complete control of how much your party fights. You can grind random encounters, you can check paths for treasure chests, you can even weasel your way past the Lord of the Woods if you'd like. But he's made of a bunch of EXP, so I'm gonna do it. After that, we go to the next temple, but Titus isn't a guardian though, so he kind of just needs to stand off to the side. But then we meet some reoccurring characters, Donna and Bartello, and as a prank, they throw you into the cloister. But hey, it's a fun little puzzle, and afterwards, Yuna gets access to the fire dog, Ifrit. But after that, we're going to Luca for the Blitzball tournament. By the way, make sure that by all means you succeed at the little minigame where Titus is haunted by the ghost of his mentally abusive father. Okay? If you do this, you'll get access to the sublimely magnificent Jet Shot Mark III.
You know what? There is no Mark 1 or Mark 2. He said they'd come back every night expecting to see Mark 1 and Mark 2.
Yeah, if you're gonna want to win the tournament, you're gonna need that. But for the first match of the tournament, you're actually gonna be on guardian duty. Yuna got kidnapped by the Albed Sykes. Waka will be able to beat them, but first you gotta ensure that Yuna's safe, with Lulu's lightning magic. Kimura brings a spear too, but it all comes down to Lulu's. She can zap them and look at that. But after you rescue Yuna, Waka will spout some racism and win the match. But after you save her, you get to play some Blitzball, and holy crap! Okay, much like the Sphere Grid, I have no idea what I'm looking at. And also like the Sphere Grid, the only way I learned how to play this game was after my buddy bothered to learn how to play it, and then explained it to me in plain English. Granted, now that I know how to play it, I love it! Passing, defending, it is all a blast! All you gotta do is get Titus to the front lines, and then have him perform it. Sublimely! Magnificent! Jet Shot Mark III! Never stood a chance. Granted, that's how you're supposed to do it. I actually scored my first shot with Dato, and when I was lining up for the jet shot, the crowd called for Waka, so Titus got swapped out, and I ended up getting the winning goal in overtime. But now you can play Blitzball anytime you want. Sort of. You see, Blitzball is a deep and riveting side game, and you can recruit people from all around the world to join your Blitzball team. Any NPC you walk up to, you can hit the square button, and if a stat sheet pops up, you can recruit them. The only reason I don't feel that I can play Blitzball until the late game is because if you play it and an enemy's contract runs out, then the other Blitzball teams can recruit the best players. Granted, you can go online and find out who the best players are, but I have my favorites, like Velucha back in Besaid, or this one chick, Miyu. She's got a unique goalie animation. Well, win or lose, afterwards the stadium is attacked by monsters, mainly just to show that this priest guide is stupid strong. But I'm more interested with the reintroduction of Oron. Ah, so cool! And after that is probably what this game is the most infamous for. Okay, so this cutscene is always misrepresented, but I really do want to, defend it. But I'm gonna make it like its own video. So if you want more video after this freaking 50-minute long video, you can watch that. But now we get Oron on our party and head down the Mihen High Road, which is just another one of my favorite songs in the game. So we're going down, we're killing wolves, we're killing birds, and you know we're definitely killing Raldo. After a while, we stop at a hotel, but Waka doesn't want to go in because it's an Al-Bed shop. And Waka is like super racist, and not even because Al-Bed kidnapped Yuna, he's just always been pretty intolerant. We go in and I meet the shop owner and we learn about another fun little side quest you can do in this game. You see, the Al-Bed speak their own language. You see, but it's simply English, but the letters are all scrambled up. Well, scattered around the world, you'll find these little primers. And if you collect them, the game will unscramble their speech every time they speak. Which is just another cool and fun side task to do while playing. So we're taking a rest and then boom! Chicken-eating monster shows up. This battle has multiple facets. You'll knock him down and knock him back. He can even knock you back. And if he knocks you back too many times, you'll actually get sent off a cliff and he'll eat up all the chickens. However, I knew that this battle was coming, so I had all the overdrive set up on my people and Aeon, so it wasn't very much trouble for me. The coolest part is that if you fail here, you can't ride chickens on Mihen High Road. They all get gobbled up. But if you do defeat the monster, they'll let you ride one for the rest of the map, which helps you reach special items, loan money to a Waka, and most importantly, listen to this game's remixed version of the Chupacabra theme. Final Fantasy, it consumes my life, and that is probably why I'll never have a wife. After that, we wander into a combat zone. You see, the best way to kill Sin is with Aeons, but the Crusaders here are gonna try and shoot it. And we get roped into helping them out with that. You see, what you gotta do is prod and poke its kids until Mama Sin comes to help it out. And by poke, of course, I mean hit it with 2 gigantic fireballs right up into the air, then smack it with another fire blast, and then end it all with a big ol' slab of earth. Well, look who decided to show up. If it isn't Sin. I was beginning to doubt that you even knew how to do basic arithmetic, you big old dumb pair of scissors! Guys, it's not working. Guys, you're just pissing it off. Hey, man, no, that's not working either. Whoa. Ah! And then Dale Earnhardt died. But like, seriously, a good chunk of the comments on the song Twilight have to do with Dale Earnhardt, and I have no freaking idea why. But hey, according to the OST list, we got Jose Temple next. And that means puzzle. Zip, zap, zop. And we got Lightning Horse. We also got the TKO, which is just straight up one of my favorite weapons in all of video games. You see, Waka chucks this thing and it has a decent chance to turn the enemy into stone. And then they shatter. It is straight up mesmerizing. Alright, next is the Moonflow. It's very pretty. But then Yuna and Lulu talk about how there is a breathtaking view at night, and Titus wants to stay and see it, but Oron says,
"That's not enough time."
Then, once we beat Sin, we're coming back.
I'm gonna tell him.
Don't you dare.
And after that, we meet the Shoe Puff driver.
Rides the Shoe Puff?
Man, I love that accent. Anyway, we ride the Shoe Puff, and then we get some world building, and then some Al-Bed snatch up Yuna. It's an easy fight when you have haste, but after the fight, Waka drops some grade A slurs.
Those sandblasted grease monkeys.
Yep, pretty sure that's like the N-word equivalent in the Final Fantasy X universe. Geez, maybe the X stands for xenophobia. Oh, by the way, after the Shoot Puff ride, you're gonna be finding Miyu. If you want my favorite Blitzball player, now's the time to snatch her up. And after that, we find one of the Albed. Oh, hey, it's Riku! She takes off her skin-colored jumpsuit and boom, final party member. She's the thief party member. Anytime we have a fight, I definitely make sure that she gets in there and claims some items in the name of His Majesty King James I. And now we make our way over to the next story beat and bit of world building. Guado Salam. See, Waka, if you want to be racist, you really should have chosen the Guado. See, at least they're visually distinct. Waka doesn't even know that Timmy Turner over there is now bed. Alright, the powerful priest guy. His name is Seymour, and he's actually been far more prevalent in the story, but he didn't fit too organically into my script, and even though he's been present, I don't think he's been present enough for this.
He asked me to marry him. Me, the wife of that boorish, brainless...
No immediate answer. We need some more world building, okay? We go over to the far plane. You see, after you die, your spirit goes here. That way your loved ones can see you. We go and see Yuna's parents, Waka's brother, Titus's mumsy. And don't forget the spirit of the damned trying to claw his way out.
Yuna, send him.
Yeah, even though they're not supposed to have a physical form, this one managed to give Yuna a .mp4 file to watch in her own time. But now we're heading over to the Thunder Plains. Riku skitters around and we find a bunch of lightning-themed monsters. Also, there's this hilarious challenge to dodge 200 lightning bolts with like half a second of reaction time. What kind of absolute loser would accomplish this? Oh. But after that, we go through some woods. It's got another stupid minigame with collecting butterflies that, once again, it seems like only a task that an absolute dweeb would put in the time to master. A great song in this area, by the way. And near the end, Oron thinks that he overheard some Viet Cong hiding in the wood, so he slices down a tree to investigate. And then, no, it was just some gigantic slime monster, though. A fun fight, though, with a really cool reward. It's a home video made by your dad. And now, the world will be populated with spheres that'll give you glimpses into your father's adventures. I don't think I mentioned it, but when your dad disappeared 10 years ago, he actually got warped to Spira. And he met up with Oron, and they were actually the guardians to Yuna's father. And now, since Jack's made some home videos, you can get some insight into that journey that they had, while also unlocking some of Oron's overdrives. But honestly, the best part of collecting the spheres is that you get to listen to Jack's theme. Alright, now on to Makalania Temple. After we thwart a good old-fashioned kidnapping attempt first, this Albed contraption is a pretty cool boss. It's got that little thing, a magic jammer, meaning that Makina's weakness, aka lightning, is off the table. And that also includes Yuna's Aeons. But once you shoot it down with Waka, you can really mess it up. I think that the coolest part is that this boss has a screen-clearing mana beam that it can fire. But if you allow the jammer to come out and stay out, it can end up interrupting its own attack. After beating it though, Yuna is escorted to the temple, so you get to ride the Albed motorcycles to the temple. And depending on the friendship levels with your party, aka who did Titus use the most items on in battle, you get to ride with them on the motorcycle. And on this playthrough, it looks like I'm riding with Riku. And in this cutscene, it is revealed that Yuna and Riku are cousins. Yeah, this whole time, Yuna was a dirty Albed.
Wait, so Oron is an Albed too, is he?
Pillory Skedpa. So we get to the temple and Yuna's inside praying, and we take a look at that .mp4 that she had, and we learn that Seymour killed his father.
I will leave this world soon, killed by my own son.
Delightfully devilish, Seymour.
So we go and we find Yuna, and we even get the next Aeon before completing the Cloister of Trials, and we're gonna need it to kill Seymour. Oh, wait, no, hey, can I get a turn? Wait, no, that's cool, but seriously, I want a turn. Wait, no! I just thought it would have been cool if, you know, I could have had a turn. So, yeah, killing the Pope in a theological society might not have been the best idea, because they're actually going to try and cover that up. And now we've got to do what, in my opinion, is the hardest Cloister of Trials while they prepare a force to try and get us. And the worst of all, the absolutely worst of all. You can't play Blitzball when you're an enemy of the state. Alright, now we gotta run from the temple being chased by Guano. But before we leave, hey babe, you wanna join a Blitzball team whose ringleader just committed high treason? Haha, atta girl. Side note, Lena is absolutely fantastic on the field. Nap shot 3 from half court. August. Apparently, that's a synonym for sublime. Which is weird, because I thought it was a month in the middle of August. Yeah, so we run away and then fall into the lake, and now we're up on top of Sin. He was kind of just hanging out next to the temple, you know, listening to the song, just vibing. But then he gets spooked, and then everything just goes crazy, and I wake up in a gall-darn desert. You wake up and you only got Titus, but as you go through the desert, you'll slowly recover all of your members, except of course for Yuna. And the desert is just a touch too tough. It probably would have helped if I had leveled up my people, especially Riku and Oron. But as I said, we're discussing the sphere grid later. There's a certain item that I want to find, but the desert had that item. Teleport spheres. And now actually, never mind. The music of the area you're in plays while you use the sphere grid, and I don't want to spend 20 minutes in here listening to... I don't know what they're saying, but right now the secret Albed sanctuary in the desert is being attacked by the Guano, mainly because the Guano want Yuna to force her into marriage, and the Albed because one of their favorite things to do is abduct summoners.
And welcome to Big Spoiler Time!
It is now time for the big spoiler time. As mentioned, Final Fantasy X is my favorite video game of all time. You got awesome music, you got varied gameplay, you got hidden relics, you got customizable characters, and you got an amazing story. But, as mentioned, it's time for the big spoiler time. I mentioned that 3 times because, seriously, this changes everything. I mean, here's the thing. If I piqued your interest in this game even a little, I'm begging you, stop the video right now, go scrounge up a copy of Final Fantasy X and play it. You will not regret it, I think. Anyway, you gotta get out now because it's big spoiler time. What I'm about to talk about is gonna completely hit differently. And it's gonna recontextualize all cutscenes prior to this. It's a big one. So if you're not gonna hit the pause button or the X in the corner there, yeah, we're going. Big spoiler time. The Albed are famous for abducting summoners, but why? Is it to get their awesome Aeon powers? Is it to eat them? I don't think their caloric value is much higher than a non-summoner. I mean, they certainly don't like Sin. They also want to save Spira, but the summoners are the only ones who can defeat it. You go to all the temples, then you head to Xanarkand to get the final Aeon. But there's the catch. Final Aeon. When the summoner gets the Aeon and kills Sin, the Aeon has a really nasty habit of straight up murdering the summoner afterwards. Yuna is gonna die, and Lulu, Waka, Kimari, Oron, heck, even Riku knew this, and they were still taking her on her suicide mission, and they strung you along for it as well!
How could you?
So, how did it go?
I think she took it rather well.
Yeah, this reveals a lot. But the biggest takeaway from this cutscene, do not forget this, is that there's a treasure chest right over in the room. Be sure to grab it as soon as you get control of your character. Holla holla big dollar! Now we get to hop on the Albed airship with Sid.
Well, you can't have a Final Fantasy game without a Sid.
And he blows the city to Kingdom Come!
Oh hey, an acceptable song.
So, who here would like to learn about the sphere grid?
Alright, so instead of typical level ups, in Final Fantasy X, you get steps on the sphere grid. And then using drops from monsters called spheres, you can purchase your stat upgrades as you pass them, as well as your spells and abilities. In the original US release, you had what the game calls the standard sphere grid, which forces you down a very rigid path without hardly any variance. Makes it very hard to ruin a character. But with the expert sphere grid, you can ruin a character if you'd really like to. For example, as a joke, I sent Yuna down the black mage path, and I made Lulu into the resident healer. And now for the reason that Riku and Oron have entirely way too many points. I haven't upgraded them at all. You see, Riku is supposed to fill your role as the thief, hit quick and get out even quicker, while Oron is supposed to be Truck-kun, and I guess technically he did isekai Titus to another world. But I haven't moved them in hopes that I would find some items called Friend Spheres. It lets you automatically warp to an ally's place on the sphere grid. But back in the desert, I found Teleport Spheres, which have even more application than Friend Spheres, but I'm gonna use them for that purpose. So now I'm gonna send Riku down Oron's path so that she'll have the stopping force of a 50 cal revolver, and Oron is going down Riku's path to get 3 actions per turn, because I am a hilarious comedy man! But seriously, choose the extra sphere grid and send your characters down the paths that make them what you want. The grid may look intimidating, but once you understand it, you add years of replayability. And that's why I still come back. In fact, just describing it right now makes me want to go back. But I'll wait a year or two so I can continue to appreciate this masterpiece. So, flying around in a giant tin can that they found at the bottom of a lake a couple of weeks ago, we decided to wage an assault on the Spira equivalent of Washington, D.C. Vatican to crash the wedding. But do not worry, because we look very cool while doing it. Wait. Okay, so I never watched this with like frame-by-frame capabilities. So we see everyone rail grinding out here, but Kimari is carrying Lulu like a baby. That is great. And Oron is just looking awesome. So we run up the steps. We've got a wedding to crash after all, and I love it. Up to this point, we've been fighting snake monsters, magic piles of goo, and the Lord of the Forest. And now it's just straight up man with gun. Fortunately, the bolts do next to nothing. We kill the men, kill the artillery, and then we make our way to the happy couple. And then they pull their guns on us. Yuna was only using the marriage as an opportunity to send Maester Seymour, but now we've gone and made ourselves hostages. Do it, Yuna! The bolts only do like 200 damage, and Waka here has like 3,000 health.
Do it, Quill. I can take it.
Alright, the old invincible in gameplay, mortal in cutscenes.
I am sorry, but it is for Yevon.
Aren't those weapons forbidden by Yevon?
There are exceptions.
You know, the second that Yuna married Seymour, she became a widow.
Don't worry. I can fly.
No, Yuna! That's birds you're thinking of! Oh, shoot, you're right! So Riku throws a flashbang and we go to the Bavel Cloister trials, and this one's not hard, but it is time-consuming. Just a lot of time riding this little thing. And I actually did have to redo it because there is a point of no return, and if you didn't bring all of the spheres with you, you can't actually get Kimari's awesome spear. And then Yuna gets Bahamut as a summon, and then we get put on trial.
I hope you're calling them to turn yourself in for being dirt.
It was definitely kangaroo court. You tried to send Maester Seymour? Yeah, he's dead. Idiot! Half the leaders of this church are dead. Your sentence is death, which apparently in Spira has a really hard time sticking. They just threw the swimmers into the water pit and the walkers into the walking pit. The walking pit was funny because I did the old keep your right hand on the wall trick. So Yuna found Kimari, and then Oron, and then we actually left without finding Lulu. But before we can leave, summoner fight. Oh, what? He shot the full overdrive? That is so lame. Okay, I think I'll be using... Oh, oops, forgot to charge up Shiva. Oh well, I'll send in Ixion. So I easily just overdrive my way all the way to Bahamut, and oh, I was not expecting you to be able to survive. Oh no.
Do it, Quill. I can take it.
But we escape, and it's time for Seymour Round 2 Electric Boogaloo. But here's the thing, Waka has been here multiple times, and since first killing Seymour, I've intentionally avoided him. You know, I don't want him implicated for helping traitors, aiding and abetting and all that fun stuff. Alright, Seymour Nexus. It's kind of a tough battle. He's got that little puppy dog that keeps casting Cure on him. But for that, I just cast Reflect on him, so the HP keeps going to us. After that, I bombard him with overdrives, and then I chucked a Reflect on Titus. And then the fool accidentally pegged himself with one of the most powerful moves in the entire Final Fantasy. After that, we escape Belleville and go back into the forest, and I find Yuna. And Boom! Super iconic and romantic makeout scene. Ain't it wonderful? Granted, I don't speak anime, so I just mute it and put on cascadas every time we touch. And after that, we gotta continue Yuna's pilgrimage. I mean, why let a little heresy stop our religious quest? So we go to the Calm Lands, fight some monsters, hire an Albed shopkeeper to my Blitzball team, which, if I'm not mistaken, I can play now. Well, in theory. I still gotta get my star player back from the starting town, but we are pretty close. Alright, now we're to Mount Gagazet, the home of the Ronsos. That's what Kimari is. He got exiled 10 years ago after they broke off his horn. And they won't let him pass unless he can beat Biran and Yankee. Actually, they've showed up periodically throughout the story, but I haven't talked about them. But now Kiari has got to regain his honor by beating them in a 2-on-1 fight. I actually got stuck here when I was younger because I straight up didn't use Kimari. Slower than Titus, weaker than Oron? Yeah, cool, okay. But I have used every one in every battle up to this point, so the battle starts.
We have no choice. It's time to use our last resort.
After the battles, the Ronso gain respect for our group, and they promise to slow down the church's pursuit as we go up Mount Gagazet, which is actually very stingy with its save points. I actually lost over an hour of leveling up because one battle went sideways for me. And then we meet Owaka's little brother. Aw man, all that effort to make sure he didn't get in trouble and they still jailed him. Oh well, hand over the Phoenix down, Skid. This is one of the hardest boss fights in video games coming up. See more Flux. You know that Pro ZD clip about rewatching unskippable cutscenes every time you die? Yeah. This is my You'll Never Save Prince Horus.
They threw themselves at me to bar my path. One after another.
Him stabbing someone into a zombie and then using full life? That's fine. We've got Phoenix Downs. A full screen attack that kills everyone, and the only person who can actually take the attack getting hit 3 times in a row? That's a little less so. Oh, and also there's Total Annihilation. Oh, hey, that's a fun RTS. Oh, no! Stop. Stop! Stop! Oh, whatever. Keep going, I don't care. They're all dead anyways. You know what? This boss! Now don't worry, I only said flip, but I still censored it because seriously, this boss. I don't like looking it up, but if you have Riku cook up a fire gem and a soul curtain and then just blast him with every Aeon's Overdrive, you can win pretty easily. Because seriously, frick this boss. After that, we walk down and see a massive clump of bodies, and we move into some pretty, let's call it, JRPG story elements. So Aeons, right? Yuna spins a burning stick around for a couple seconds, and then a horned fire dog is ready to unleash literal hellfire on our opponents. But how do you get an Aeon? Well, I guess you get an Aeon by solving a Cloister of Trials, but Aeons are actually people who've sealed themselves up in amber called a faith, and then when the summoner prays, they become a lightning horsey. Well, this huge mass of flesh is all the people who survived the Xanarkand attack all those years ago. And the Aeons being brought forth are actually me and my dad. Then I meet Bahamut's person. You remember Bahamut, right? Anyways, he tells me the Aeons are alive and they've been alive for a real long time. And they all saw Tom Scott's video about how sleep is the best thing. They want to die. They want their 1,000-year-long dream to end. And they ask me if that's all good. And then I wake up and we continue. To Xanarkand! We go through some caves where Waka uses a Blitzball to activate some switches. Wait. How did other summoners do this? Did they all have Blitzball players with? Whatever. We gotta fight a dragon. The first time we fought, no, Kimari! 95 HP isn't enough, no! And on the second attempt, we killed him before everybody could even land a hit to get the experience. And we're going, and then Yuna drops a sphere, which was supposed to be watched after her death, and Titus picks it up, and we watch it, and while I was watching it, I didn't cry. A little bit. Yes, that is technically true. I did not cry a little bit. Then we make it to Xanarkand, and the final area has this big old dome that Oron says works kind of like a giant sphere that captures the memory of the previous summers. My dad's group, a little Seymour, Lady Yokon, whoever the frick that is. Wait, that's Miyu! That's my Blitzball goalie! The only reason I even bring that up, though, is because while watching the Dad Crew, Braska freaking interacts with a save sphere. What does that mean? What are save spheres in the world if they aren't an item exclusively for the player? Did Braska save scum his way through his pilgrimage? Maybe they got in a quick game of Blitzball in for Ject? I don't know. Trial here is not too hard. Basically just Simon Says, and then you fight a dragon. Stop! Stop! I don't have items that can cure Berserk! And then I grinded because I was really close to unlocking Ultima. Which, by the way, is not worth 90 MP. And then another one of the hardest bosses in the whole game. So, Lady Yunalesca is the first summoner to kill Sin. She can cook up one of your people into the final Aeon. Braska actually used Ject for the Aeon. But here's a silly little gamer fact. The Aeon will actually become the next Sin. Yeah, my dad vaporized all those people. The state religion taught that sin won't come back if people cease their wickedness, but Yunalesca said, yeah, we made that up because we know people won't stop sinning. So, chop chop, choose the ingredient, I don't got all day. And then we see in the past that when Auron figured that out, he challenged Yunalesca, and Auron died right there. But seriously, he did die. Also, the Aeon's gotta be a person that Yuna has the best relationship with. See, that's why Seymour wanted to marry Yuna, so he actually wanted to be Sin. But, right, now we decide that, you know what, we gotta stop this stupid tradition. And Yunalesca took offense to that. And so we start another boss fight that I've had to restart many a times. However, I don't mind rewatching the cutscene before this because Auron has an awesome monologue.
Now, this is it. Now is the time to shape your stories.
No! Let me control it! Cool.
I still stand by the statement that the stone effect in this game is pretty cool.
Megadeth? What does that do? What? Oh no. Are you kidding me? After multiple attempts though, I get Lulu to drop 4 Ultimas on her head and we win. Then Yunalesca just kind of fades away saying,
good luck defeating Sin now, idiots.
Afterwards, we get picked up by Cid, and now we have access to the entire world. But the game wants us to go to Bavel to talk to the King Pope. We tell him that we killed Yunalesca, and he's all, oh no! That was our only way to defeat Sin! Oh, you know what? No, screw it! I'm out! And then he performs ascending on himself.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Alright, so we're down to Final Aeon, but we still need to kill Sin. We have this idea, though. We asked Shalinda, who somehow got promoted from lowly acolyte to Bavel Captain of the Guard in a week, to ask the entire world to sing so that Sin will be more passive. Cause we're gonna kill Sin with Wakka's Blitzball! And it actually works pretty well. He just kind of floats there and remains motionless, so we bop off his arm, then we fly on over to the other arm, and the most he can muster is a backhand. Yo, did Sin just pimp slap us? But we blow off that arm as well. And then Lulu's all, I'm gonna commit suicide! Then we all hop on Sin and kill his... whatever that thing is. The thing is, we're trying to blow a hole in Sin so we can get inside and kill whatever's controlling it. Then we move on to the 4th phase, and the game basically says, don't let him open his mouth fully. Game, we're trying to get into his mouth! Man, it would really suck if you used Petrify on all 3 members of my team. But the next round goes much better, we do enough damage, and then we get the privilege to enter Sin. And we get some freaky welcoming party.
The danger must be growing, for the rowers keep on rowing.
We're there.
Alright, the belly of the beast. Just a quick jaunt through this foggy area with some stupid strong enemies. It shouldn't take more than an hour. And then, well, Seymour, we meet again. And honestly, not too tough of a fight if you use the earliest white magic spells in the game, the nullifies attacks. And now, after our, 500th battle with Seymour, Yuna can finally send his butt to the far plane. EA-ooey, mother fricker. And we are to the end game. But this is my favorite game. I don't want to finish yet. I want to dodge 200 lightning bolts. I want to get the Magnus Sisters. I want my complete Blitzball team. So first we get the most powerful Aeon, Anima, which is actually Seymour's mommy, so I actually reloaded a save simply so I could land the killing blow to Seymour with his own mother.
I have the power of God and anime on my side!
Wait,
Okay, so Besaid is actually blocked off by one of the stupid bosses I have ever seen. Fortunately, the Samurai Yojimbo can one-shot anything in this game for the right price. So I go and I buy him, get his friendship up in the mountains, and then we kill Dark Baleful in one hand. But most importantly, now I can recruit Volusia. And now I can play Blitzball! Also, I grabbed the reporter lady back in Luca. She's very good at the sport. Alright, now I go to Gamin and fight all of her Aeons, and as I mentioned, I always have my Aeons fully charged with overdrives, so... Alright, now I got the Magus Sisters as a summon. We got Sandy, Sydney. Alright, now to try the Lightning Bolt trick. And it worked! You know, I've never really gotten the Celestial weapons before. I don't want to put in the time to do it, but I've done pretty much everything for Yuna and Lulu's, so I guess I'll grab those ones. Of course, Riku is the only one who can even deal above 10,000 damage, you know, because of the Auron path. So I guess I'll grab hers as well. And I mean, the Butterfly Challenge sounds fun, so I guess I can get Kimari's and catch 9 full areas of monsters, but look at the list. I pretty much have that done. So I'll get Aurons as well, and I could probably knock out the Chocobo racing in like 25 minutes. Also, I have my star team of Blitzball players, and I love playing Blitzball, so fine, I'll get Wakas as well. Hey, you, Yevon, I accidentally got all the Celestial weapons. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so the first final boss is Titus's old man. He transforms into Brass's final Aeon while with Overworld blares in the background. Personally, I prefer Sephiroth for making you live and learn, but this is pretty alright. Oh, look, guys! It's the sublimely magnificent Jet Shock Mark 1 or 2! Oh, that's probably Mark 4. Okay, so we go back and we blast him with Veilfloor's Overdrive, and now the guy who planned to be immortal by using Aeons' clothing for hundreds of years. See, he would just slip into the final Aeon that beat him, and then he would use that Aeon to kill people so that more summoners would keep bringing him new Aeons, and then he'd just off the summoner too. That way they couldn't stop him. But since we just killed Jekt without the use of a final Aeon, he's in trouble. However, this is how the regular Aeons can finally be killed. We summon them, Yevon takes control of them, and then we kill it, and then just kind of move down. This is probably supposed to be a pretty tough fight, but I've got all of my overdrives pre-charged, so... Unlock an Aeon. You just left them locked in amber, alive and undying for all time and eternity. In fact, I'm willing to wager that a majority of players have actually confined the Magus Sisters to an infinite, unending hell torment. Alright, Yevon. I remember this being an amazing fight. I had to pull out all the tactics for it. It was amazing. Oh, I have all the Celestial weapons. Okay, well, I'm gonna go back and redo it and explain how I beat him, since there are some people who aren't gonna go through and unlock all the gosh dang super weapons. So every time he gets hit, he gets to cast heal on himself for 9999. You have two choices of what you can do here. You can either cast Zombie on him, so he hurts himself with that healing, or Reflect on him, so the healing hits you. But then you can't cast spells on him. But honestly, your best spells are curing ones on a zombie. So it's best to cast Zombie and Reflect on him, and then cast Reflect on yourself, so you can ricochet Kyurga off your own guys into him. It's honestly one of the most strategic, like, 4D chess fights I've ever had, and it was amazing. Or you could just spend, like, 2 gosh dang hours dodging lightning bolts and kill him that way. But after you kill him, you saved Spira. Yuna starts to send Yevon, but she realized that it's affecting Auron as well. Like I said, he died 10 years ago fighting Yunalesca, but he's okay with it. He completed his mission. Wait, Auron, if you're gonna go poof, I spent a lot of time getting that awesome weapon for you. Do you think maybe you could leave your awesome weapon? No! Mana Musume! I spent so long grinding for that. And then the super mega fate that was sustaining Titus begins to break down. Yo, which one of these guys is Zanar? He gives one last intangible hug to Yuna, and then he hops off the ship.
Live and let live!
And one last high five for his pops. And that's where the story ends. Final Fantasy X-2, stupid name by the way, does not exist. I hate this game. Hey, you know what would keep you warmer than a scarf? A shirt! Yeah, the PlayStation 4 may have better fingers, but the Switch version makes it so that X-2 is an optional download, which means that I can intentionally not download it. And the stupidest thing of all is freaking Yuna the Hedgehog over there. feature film for Final Fantasy. Thank you for watching. Pick up the game. Play this game. And honestly, thank you for watching. Obviously, you can stomach my content, so maybe you could shoot me a like. Maybe if you feel really frisky, a subscription. Yeah, you can always unsubscribe later, but I don't know. Listen, I'm feeling pretty exhausted right now, and that's only after writing the script and voicing it. I cannot imagine how editing Chet is gonna be feeling in like 20 to 60 hours from now, so yeah, I'm just gonna end it. Editing Chet, just go ahead, throw on the end slate thing, like choose 3 videos that you think people might like, throw on the Sonic music, and take a rest. You've earned it. Hey guys, Editor Chet here. I'm exhausted, I'm gonna go rest, but I'm also going to be replacing my motherboard after I upload this video. So in case I disappear forever, thanks so much for your support and have a fantastic day.